So this is my first video really that I ever made, and this video, first off, I'm a real American fan, and I want to try to make the biggest video in a channel of supporting real American talent, and we know now it's views over talent, so talent doesn't exist anymore. And in the boxing game right now, one of the most talented guys in the middleweight division is Demetrius Andrade. He doesn't get the respect that he deserves. If you go to BoxRec or you go look at any boxing ranking, Demetrius Andrade is listed at the top. And above him, you might see Gennady Golovkin, Gennady Triple G Golovkin. And you will see Jamal Charlo. But for the people who don't really know boxing, these guys are avoiding him because this guy, Demetrius Andrade, is actually talented. He's actually good. Canelo Alvarez is also supposed to fight Demetrius Andrade. He's supposed to fight Demetrius Andrade back when he was like at 154 pounds. But Canelo Alvarez refuses to fight Demetrius Andrade and try to make an excuse and says that he has a bad style. His style is horrible. What do that have to do with him being a good fighter? Like, and these are questions for the media to ask. Like, media, get on his ass, bro. Get on his ass. Get on his ass, media. Get on his ass. Like, what do that have to do with Demetrius Andrade being a good fighter? He did everything that he's supposed to do. And it bothers me a lot. And it makes me like, I don't even know if I still want to watch boxing. I'm a boxer myself. Is this something I'm going to have to worry about when I get up to the top? You know, once you're a talent, you're in today's world, if you're talented, nobody wants to fight you. Nobody wants to fight you. Like, that's horrible. And now it's all about, you know, ratings and IG. So they're pretty much we're going off IG followers. He doesn't have enough IG. Demetrius Andrade doesn't have enough IG followers to be a champ. You know, his IG numbers are not speaking. So we're going off IG. We're not going off talent anymore. And the reason why I say that, because Gary Russell Jr. and Terrence Crawford is going through the same thing. They're going through the same thing. These guys are going through the same thing. The fans, and I really speak for American fighters. I don't care if you're Hispanic. I don't care if you're African. I don't care if you're from Sydney, Australia. I don't care if you're born in America. You know, the guys here get like it's hard to sell. It's like guys in the other countries. If you look at Anthony Joshua don't have problems getting fights. He never had problems getting fights. He's gonna make money regardless. He's gonna have followers. Lennox Lewis was another one, an all-time great. They don't have to like be arrogant or be neon. They don't have to be Adrian Broner. I mean, if so, they can, you know, no disrespect to Adrian Broner, shout out to AB, but they don't have to play those antics to get fights. All they have to do is just be themselves. Just go to work. Do what you got to do. You don't have to do all this extra stuff. And I feel like for American fighters, we have to do all this extra stuff. We got to like talk shit. We got to say fuck, suck my dick, and all type of stuff, and be violent and all of this for the fans to get behind. And so we got to play that villain role. And we shouldn't have to. Shout out to my boy Andre Ward, man, because Andre Ward been undefeated his whole career. Andre Ward never had to like Andre Ward always stay humble. Always stay humble. A humble fighter, humble champion. But it's sad to say, for the youth, and Andre, one of my favorite fighters, man. Andre, one of my favorite fighters. But it's sad to say, more people will know Adrian Broner than they know Andre Ward. Why? Because of Broner's his American tactics, like the social media and everything else, and he come off as a villain. And I think Broner's a good dude too, but I think people love those antics. Like they love, in America they love that. Like I be looking at Anthony Joshua interviews and stuff like that, and I'm like, man, I love Joshua, by the way, but I know that he wouldn't be able to sell if he was from the States, because America's not buying you if you're not. If you don't have a huge following, you weren't in no Marvel movies, you're not a rapper or anything else. So it's a whole different style here in the States. It's definitely a different style in the States. But we're talking about Demetrius Andrade. And for all the American fans, get behind Demetrius Andrade. For the media, get on their fucking neck when they try to avoid him, and when you see him at the top of the division, any American fighter, get on their neck and be like, hey, why don't you fight Demetrius Andrade? Fight Demetrius Andrade. We don't want to buy we don't want to buy Caleb Smith or Jake Paul. We want to see a real fight. We want to see you in a real fight. And that's for the American media to get behind him and to really get behind him and do and put them in the right direction. They put money. I think they invested money for it to go the wrong way. We got to invest in money for it to go the right way. I think Eddie Hearn and DAZN does a great job with that. But Eddie Hearn is also from the United Kingdom. So, I mean, the mindset is different of how he promotes fights, which, I love to get with Eddie Hearn one day. But Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade, man, I'm a huge fan of you, man. And I see what you're going through. I see you at the top of the division. I see that you work hard. Even in your last opponent that you fought, which is a good fighter, I want to see him go against Dromachenko or whoever. I think that guy will actually beat a top fighter. Mark my words. I think that guy is going to beat somebody big. But you don't get and he gave you your props if you go back and look at his interview. But yeah, man, that's all I'm saying, man. Give Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade his shot. He deserved it. He did everything that he's supposed to do. But America, y'all got to get on their necks. Stop looking at this Tyron Woodley, Jake Paul. Yeah, that's entertaining, but we got to look at what's real and what's not real. And what we really need to get behind. And I always said, if Demetrius was from United Kingdom or Mexico or whatever the case, they would have stood behind him and he would have had to fight by now. They would have been begging him for a fight. They would have been knocking on his door for a fight. That's all I got to say. Real American fan.